Let's take a look. How's it looking? Oh my god, they're gaming! 5 minutes in! Jesus. Well, that is something to keep in mind for following days. What do we do with our camera? Do we like it there? I don't know where they have... I have no idea. I'm sorry guys, if I would have known... I didn't read the message of Ian, but if I would have known, I would have obviously just quit a bit earlier. But very often they say it starts at 1 and then it actually starts like 10 minutes past 1, 12 minutes past 1. So now we've kind of missed the first 5 minutes, but it's all good. Masters Coliseum will run for like, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 weekends in a row. So it's going to go on for a very long time. And this is a Group A. Apparently they split the groups up in 2 different days. So the broadcasts are rather short. It's like 3 best of 3s on the first day, 3 best of 3s on the second. And then it will just happen every single weekend. It is awesome to have a big online tournament to look forward to. Apparently they are going to be sharp. So we'll keep that in mind for tomorrow morning. Even if tomorrow morning might be a rough morning for me. But we'll keep an eye on it. And ley lines turned out to be our first map. 5 minutes in, seems like we had a very standard Heli and Banshee start. Don't think that Cure got very successful, because Serral does not take a lot of damage in general with Heli and Banshee. And we'll take it from there. Hive tech on the way, creep being spread. We took a look at the head-to-head history between Cure and Serral yesterday. And there was a time where Cure beat Serral. And then he beat him again, so he won 2 out of 3 series. And those are the only 2 series that Cure has won in literally forever. Serral does ridiculously good in general against every Terran that's not named Clem, but Cure seems to be one of his favorite victims. No, I don't think the 5 minutes that we miss of Yona are going to be 5 minutes that we have to cherish. It's not an easy group. Obviously, Australia and Shin are the other 2 players in this group. And especially Shin has been pretty proper good lately. Tomorrow I guess we'll have the ZVZ between Serral and Shin, because Serral only plays 1 series today. And I'm kind of excited about that, because in the past it often just looked like Serral and Shin were not even competing on the same level. They were not even in the same league. I can't imagine that it still looks like that. With the results that Shin has been able to post online in the last few months, with how active he's been, this is ZVZ I generally am curious about. This ZVT I am slightly less curious about, because I feel like Serral just always beats Cure. Seems like Cure is just playing 8 racks on 3 base. I don't know if there is a 4th base somewhere. Obviously I've missed a couple of the build order dynamics between these 2, but I see a lot of Marines, I see Widow Mines, I see 2-2 upgrades. This is obviously where it always gets a bit dicey as a Zerg. You need to buy some time. But there is no one better in buying time than Serral. I think it's a seat. I was coughing a lot yesterday as well. It's not nice. I missed the most standard, yeah. So triple CC, Heli and Banshee maybe got 5 to 8 drones at best. And now we are 8 rexing. I guess that's what we missed. Oh, obviously, tomorrow if I play a game at like 12:50, I'll make sure that I have the stream open. Some very big Baneling connections on the side of Serral, and this fight, guys, is not even much of a fight. It is a massacre, like it very often is when these 2 play against each other. Now, the supplies may still look a little bit close, but if this was Lairtech Zerg, I would be like, oh no, Terran will still have another shot. Coco's 2nd wave is there. And we do have a 4th base, but it's still going to take a very long time before Cure has a Ghost and Liberators with advanced ballistics. The stream feed is looking like ass. Makes me feel at home. What do you mean with like makes you feel at home? I don't think it looks that bad. It doesn't look great, but honestly, if we're going to complain about this, then you're going to complain about a lot of the clean feeds. I think this is about as good as it looks in general. But this is not that bad. It's obviously not as sharp as when I'm actually in-game, but it'd be weird if it was. It's a monstrous counterattack here by Serral. Gets 14 SCVs immediately. Way more SCVs are stuck and they cannot go through that wall. It's just, it looks like Serral against Cure, guys. It looks like Serral against Cure, and how it so often looks when these two go up against one another. Poor Cure is gonna get really tired as well of playing against Yona. Like, can I get literally anyone? And the funny thing is that Cure would probably have a good shot against Clem. Like, not saying that he's the favorite, but I think Cure has a good shot against pretty much anyone, but Serral is just his ultimate nemesis. Now, he does still have 108 army supply. So it's not like he is Omega dead, he's got 0 chance here, but it doesn't look very good. I don't think he's got 3-3 bio either. Unless I have completely missed that. I think it's just 2-2. I think at this point, Cure is just going to keep it at 2-2. Parasitic Bomb lands in the middle of 3 medevacs full of units. Another big counter by Serral on the third. Cure is going to stim over a few units, but the Lynx have Reynor glance. So 2-2 bio is going to have a tough time. We don't mind friendly fire. Tiny bit. All I ever want to see is more parasitic bombs, guys. When I see this many medevacs on top of each other. When I see liberators in the mix as well. Yes, 8 barracks. Oh, look at that parabomb. Good split up by Cure. I love that Yona always gives us what we want. We want parabombs, he gives us parabombs. That's a very dramatic Marauder. This Marauder is suffering from main character syndrome. Thinks he's the life of the party. Like, no way. It's really not all about you. Brought me back to my Warcraft 3 sounds there for a little bit, guys. Oh, Basilisks connecting in the monstrous way. And Pure did not see it. I don't even want to see it. It is another proper beatdown. Serral looking very good. In the first 7 minutes I get to see of him in Masters Coliseum. Maybe in the first 5 minutes, guys, he actually lost 22 drones, which means he looked even better, but I highly doubt that's what happened. Want a back and forth 2-1 series. I think you're going to see a lot of those throughout this tournament, because the 16 players that are in Masters Coliseum 8 are all excellent. I think most of them can beat each other on any given day, as GG gets called. Unfortunately, Cure cannot beat Serral on any given day, and I'm sure it will happen again one day. Because Cure is excellent, obviously, he's a world-class Terran, but it becomes pretty mental as well, right, at one point, where if you keep running into this kid and he just keeps on beating you. Where is Serral playing from, by the way? I don't know this backdrop at all. Does Serral have a green screen? Did the guys from WTL tell him to use a green screen? Don't show off all your trophies, it's intimidating. It's the 2020, yes, if it's the 2020 IEM backdrop of the Corona year, and it's like very close to him, yes, that makes sense. Sarah's in the Basilisk new studio. If we have one, I want to visit it. I don't know anything about that. Hero Marine did play in the qualifiers, Mac the Dude, but basically this tournament was 16 players all the way. 8 players got directly invited. Hero Marine was not one of them. Then we had open qualifiers. If you go through my VODs, you see that I casted all of them last week. Hero Marine had 2 opportunities and he did not make it. He used it while casting the Finnish tournament and on his ladder stream. Awesome. Look at Yona. Yona's a streamer, baby. Serral Cure round 2. I'm digging the feel of these graphics, by the way. Well done. I love orange. It's always been one of my favorite colors. And I feel like I'm looking at Dragon Balls, but I don't think that there are any Dragon Balls on the screen. But Amygdala for game 2. Bottom left side, it is Team Liquid's Cure. Top right side, it is the man who does incredibly well against Cure. Probably better than any other player on the planet. It is Basilisk Serral. Yeah, I like Serral's regular backdrop. In general, I've said this for a long time. I always like, when I'm watching a stream, I like seeing the backdrop. I like seeing the room. And it doesn't matter if they put like a crazy amount of effort into it, or a little bit of effort, or honestly no effort at all, because that also leaves us something to look at and talk about. But I've always liked just room environments more than green screens or the floating head. But obviously everybody's different. There are thousands, if not a million streamers out there that do love the green screen and the floating head. More power to them. It's alright for us to like different things. Serral's ashamed of not having... I mean, there's only one, right? I had a dream about the Esports World Cup. I don't even want to tell you guys. Because then you guys are going to think that, like, oh my god, does he know something? But I had a dream about the Esports World Cup. And it was not a good dream, guys. It was very sad. I looked at that website. And the Marvel shooter was there. But we were not there. Well, it was just a dream. I have no inside info, I promise. Apparently all this talk is getting to me. Like a nightmare? I think nightmare is a little bit too dramatic. If I have a proper nightmare, they are a whole lot worse and severe than something related to our video game. But yeah, it would be bad. I'd honestly be very surprised if we're not bottom, but at this point I'm also I'm not quite as confident as I was a couple months ago. A couple months ago I felt really good about it. Mostly because of the lack of competition, and I just felt that our tournament performed pretty well. And all the interactions. Katowice is definitely going to take place, but there is zero news about any StarCraft tournament at Katowice. That could still change, but most people believe that we are now getting too close to Katowice for there realistically to actually be a StarCraft tournament. I don't know if that's... Yeah, I mean, it's... If they would somehow announce it this week and then they have some qualifiers, they would still have time, but obviously all the tickets have already been sold. And it is very unlikely that there is a StarCraft at Katowice. I will never say never, because before somehow there is StarCraft, and then you guys are like, fuck you, Kevin, you told me that there was not going to be StarCraft, I didn't go. Now that the hotels are expensive, so I'm not saying anything, but I'd be very surprised. I think everyone had tons of fun at EWC. I think the players had fun, the casters had fun. I think most of the viewers at home had a really good time. I know there were some technical difficulties, but overall the tournament was sick. And the games were very good. Fingers crossed, that's all we can do, guys. But yeah. You guys yapping about it so much that I'm now dreaming about it. You guys are responsible for that. I understand that it's not that easy for ESL to make announcements about EWC, because obviously that's like, it's them, but it's not totally them. I do think that they could have been a little bit more transparent about Katowice, because that truly is their event. And they could have just been like, hey, the reality is that we're trying, the reality is that it is happening or it's not happening. But waiting this long obviously does suck a little bit, because now even if something would happen, which is great, because everybody would love StarCraft in Katowice, it is legitimately too late for a lot of fans to even think about going. Unless you obviously live close by. If your name is Spy, you'll be there. Cure sets up a Liberator in the natural, trying to distract Serral, trying to force him to move the drones, and then hoping to get lucky with the Hellions and the Reaper, but this looks like a Cure against Serral opening, guys. Serral's defense is impeccable, per usual. I think we're going to see a lot of really good games in this tournament. And I'm really excited to see Australia, and I hope he plays well. Serral against Cure is something I've casted and seen so many times. And I know that Cure did take one map in the WTO Code S playoffs. So you guys might be like, well, didn't he recently get 1-1? Yes, he did, but that was like Proxy 3 Rex. Or Proxy 2 Rex, Bunker Rush, and it just went kind of well on Crimson Court. But in a normal, regular game, for the life of me, I cannot remember the last time that Cure beat Serral. I think it was in that Kings of Cup of Champions, Kings of Cups, whatever it was called. The one that Kozan was casting, and I recently met Kozan. He's a nice guy. Of Alpha X back then, but that's so long ago. It's like legit 3-4 years ago that I saw Cure beat Serral in a normal game. And we had a lot of Hellbat timings back then. That's what I know. King of Battles. That sounds about right. Something with Cups, Kings, and Battles, man. I think you're onto something. You like the massive FFA? I am still mad over that. Because when they asked us if we wanted to play in that caster free-for-all at EWC, the talks in the green room, and the green room is where all the casters sit and sometimes production stops by, is that the winner would get one of those cell phones. Because the tournament was sponsored by a cell phone company. I don't know which one it was, but it sounded awesome to me. So I crafted up a master plan. I went deep into the lab, I crunched numbers, and I came to the conclusion that there is only one person in that free-for-all that's good at StarCraft, and that's Lambo. So as long as I kill Lambo, I'm going to win. Then I win and I get a freaking t-shirt. What the hell? If I would have known that, I wouldn't have cared. I wouldn't have betrayed my brother in Lambo like that. Honestly. You're telling me that I am in Saudi Arabia, a tournament where they're giving out $25 million to video gamers, and I win something and I win a t-shirt? Honestly, I am truly bad luck Ryan. This is ridiculous. I never win anything in my life. I finally win something and I win a freaking t-shirt. I gave it away. If Zombie Grove wanted that t-shirt, he can have it. I wanted the cell phone, baby. Bare minimum, or 10k, you know. They give away 50k to the guy that already won the tournament. In the previous year, somebody gets $10,000 for making 5 robos. The next guy gets $10,000 for a couple burrowed banelings. And I get a t-shirt? I mean... honestly, that's a bad beat. Let's be honest. That was cruel. I deserve better than that. I did win, yeah. That was cool. I had more people talk to me about that win than they did about the gazillion hours of casting or streaming over the last 3 years. But like, yeah, you know, I did that. But that FFA, man, that was cool. The Observer. Yeah. Really cool. One hell of a t-shirt. Should have built 5 robots. That's right, mate. Should have won 6. Be like, look at me now. I'm him. Maybe then I would have gotten a bonus. Oh, yeah. Sometimes you're lucky. Sometimes you're unlucky. And sometimes if you cure, you have to take on Serral once more. Serral's playing a Hydra Link Bane Stars. He's got 6 bases up and running at this point. And Cure has been on the edge of creep, dancing over creep a little bit, but none of these fights have looked particularly exciting for Cure. I don't think Cure is particularly excited over any of these fights either. That was nice by Cure, actually killing some of these Zerglings, so the Wither Mines didn't connect. In the end, Banelings do find a little connection with the Marines, and then the Wither Mines did some friendly fire too. I think Serral should not really have a very difficult time keeping this hatchery alive. It legitimately sometimes feels like whenever you watch Serral play against any Terran that's not Clem, it kind of feels like you're watching an MMA fight, but one guy is like in the lightweight category and the other one is a heavyweight. And like, yeah, he's doing stuff, but it doesn't have much impact. This doesn't seem very fair and competitive. Here ends up losing 12 or so Marines in the top left side. And doesn't really get much in return, if anything. Serral's Hive is a little bit later, so he definitely respected the pressure that Cure was applying. We have burrowed banelings, by the way, close to being done. Be very fun to see a couple of big burrowed banelings connections. Serral's just had so many freaking units all the time. And it's not like Cure's got no army, because Cure's supply is pretty big too, but especially on creep, it feels like there is no way Jose that Cure ever gets a good fight. On the edge of creep, off creep, yeah, sometimes 2 or 3 big Withermine hits is all it takes. This is a nice spot, by the way, for Cure. In Cure's defense, ooh, that's a good Withermine shot. In Cure's defense, these games obviously are played online, so there is something involved. We can't really expect Cure to micro his Marines as well cross-server as Clem would do at an offline event. I think that'd be fair. I'm the biggest Clem fanboy out there, but those measurement standards are obviously not fair. Now, Cure is obviously not Clem offline either in TVZ, but I'm sure in general the micro and the pickups are going to be a bit sharper offline than it is online. That was a decent Withermine hit. It's a shame for Cure that that Overseer was not above the Banelings, but Cure is fast, but he is not Clem fast. But then again, who is, right? Only peak Reynor. But Reynor is too busy cooking things up in that Summoner's Rift. Trying to make it out of Diamond League. Not in StarCraft, guys. It is hard to go toe for toe with Clem. I do feel that like prime max packs, if I think back of some of those Monday nights we had, and I'm not talking about like the last 20, 30 weeks, but talking about a year ago, a year and a half ago, where sometimes I was absolutely losing my freaking mind over how good some of those games were on the maps like Hecate and like 2K. Some of that peak Clem max packs, before max packs even got the love and respect that he gets right now for how good he is. Those are some of the best and fastest TVPs I've ever seen. Like, man, Max Packs is incredibly quick too. And I think that's why he's able to just steamroll almost every other guy that is not Clem. Or like literally in the top 6 of the world. Because Max Packs is really quick too. It's just like, it's different to show it off as a Protoss than it is as a Terran or a Zerg perhaps. I think Max, when he's feeling it, mega quick. Serral got that planetary in the bottom. Cure obviously gets a hatchery in the top left side. And once more on creep. These tiny bio armies, they don't stand a chance. Serral's gonna get Hydra lunch as well. I still prefer Dash, by the way. By the way, every time I see it, or every time I play against it, it's honestly kind of legit. I know that when we first saw it, it looks kind of silly, but like speed and movement is everything in StarCraft. And seeing Hydras suddenly get into positions where in the past you would never think they could because they would take too much damage, it makes a big difference. And it does really allow Hydras to take certain fights that in the past they were not able to take. Reynor streamed a bit of Zerg ladder, but yeah, once more it's not fair to ask Reynor to stream a bunch of Zerg ladder. Because the ladder is just not good. And I know that some people would love to see Reynor play Zerg ladder all day, but he's either only going to play ZVP, or he's going to have to smurf, or he's going to have to play against people that are 900 MMR below him, and he's going to have like 7 minutes of waiting time. Like, I'm sure that if Reynor could queue at any given moment, and he would get a nice variety of opponents, anybody in the top 30, and it would take like a minute, 2 minutes to get a game, Reynor would gladly play some Zerg, but that option is just not really there. And I know when Serral plays ladder, it is different, but that's just because in general people find it magical to play on the ladder against Serral. So when Serral is streaming, a lot of people that weren't even planning on playing, they start playing because they want to play against Serral. They've already lost against Reynor plenty of times, so they don't feel like that's that interesting. Like, Serral just has that impact. Serral brings the ladder to life. And unfortunately for Reynor, like, he has less of that impact. And even if Reynor would want to stream more Zerg, it's just the way that Battle.net functions right now, it is not really doable. And I think that's why I often say one of the best things that look at the Hydras, by the way, speeding up, getting both Liberators. One of the best things ever, guys, could be like a recoding to Battle.net to some degree, where the ladder gets reset, the MMRs get reset, and we kind of start over, and it's just a little bit easier to find games and a bigger variety of opponents. Get rid of all the silly donkey barcodes. Life would be great. I think it would be the best thing that could ever happen to StarCraft, but at least for the casual amateur scene. Obviously not for maybe the top tier pro scene, but I think even for pros it'd be a bit more fun again. If they don't have to sit there and search ladder for 7 minutes, if they can just always go live, queue games, find somebody quickly. And it might elevate the guys that are right below the top 16, top 20 as well, to get games quicker against better players. They get more practice, they step up their game, we get a more competitive scene. Yeah. That would obviously take some time, money and effort. And someone to care. But never say never. Warcraft 3 is getting updates. They're getting Battle.net. It functions again, it works, so hey, if Warcraft 3 can get it, why not us? Yeah. A big barrel bomb lands in the middle of all the medevac. Every single medevac dies here for a cure. Poor guy. And look at the Hydra speeding forward. Yeah, why not? I mean, even off trip, if there is no medevac support for all these units. A couple banings. Serral has burrow. Haven't really seen any big connections yet. Of course it would be split up, Hello Minds, but if the point distribution is different and the queue times and the queue requirements are different, then you always get games. And right now, like, asking anybody to go live and stream, but they have to wait 7 minutes to get a game until, like, that MMR gap widens. Like, that's just not doable. That's not good content. And that's why you see a lot of the top players play off race, because then at least they get games. But with their main race, they can just not get any games. And nobody is going to be able to create a great stream if you have to wait 7 minutes for a game. Like, look how dominant Serral can look against Cure. We are 18 minutes into a game. This has obviously been good content, but I think none of you guys had any doubt in the last 12, 13 minutes that this was going to go Serral's way. Now imagine if Serral would have to wait 7 minutes to get a game against somebody that's 50% worse than Cure. He'll play for 6-7 minutes, people will give up, and then he has to wait 7 minutes. Like, that's obviously not great content. Now once more, Serral is the exception. Because Serral has that effect that if he's streaming, if he's lathering, a lot of the pros and semi-pros are like, I'm gonna give it a crack. And they start putting up battle nets, but not everybody is Serral. Needs to do karaoke. I have never thought of Serral doing karaoke. And I don't think I'll see it in my lifetime. 3 Hydras harassing SCVs from the right side of the goal. That's kind of cute. Now morphing into lurkers. Cure is gonna try one more time, guys, to get his Dream Terran army, and it's gonna be a mix of Ghost and Liberators with advanced ballistics, Marines, Marauders. But the swarm is here in overwhelming numbers. And unfortunately for Cure, it kind of feels that history is repeating itself. The games between these two, yes, there are interactions, yes, there are interesting battles. Yes, Cure gets bases and a big army, but I feel like he never really even gets close to getting Serral on the ropes. And it has been a 19-minute game, and a lot of units have gone down. And clearly Serral has to work for it, because it's Cure. He's one of the best Terrans of all time. But where certain Terrans, and then obviously we're thinking especially about Clan, but like in a weird way, I even feel that Oliveira has a better shot against Serral than Cure. It's just like that stylistic thing. It's the YOLO factor that Oliveira has, where he can just freaking send it. He can activate the turbo, as Reynor likes to call it. Oliveira is dangerous. Stylistically for Cure, Serral's just a nightmare. Because I think they have a similar approach in a lot of stages of the game, but then Serral just does it a little bit better than Cure. And all of a sudden, Terran looks weak. 100%, Jeremy, that stuff would work. Like in the past, we think of the Total Biscuit ladder tournaments as Cure cannot deal with that lurker, loses the Liberators and down 80 supply. He had enough of it. He says GG. Cure looks sad, but there are still 2 series in this group that Cure can look forward to. Those will be played tomorrow, guys. Tomorrow at 1 PM, Cure, his journey will continue. I don't think Cure really thought he was going to do Mega Hot in this match, but I'm sure he wanted to at least get a map that could maybe help in 3-way ties, but not meant to be.